Hey there, YouTube. It's P2 Finger. I'm here with an Oleo citrate. Drinking my super juice. And I've got my tonic water, my signature select with quinine. This is the good stuff. So I got an Oleo citrate tip and a story. I guess I'll do the Oleo citrate first and then tell the story. So, when I first heard about this, I ran out and bought some lemons, some limes, a couple of juice oranges. Are those Valencias? Let me know in the comment section if you do know that. A most perfect specimen of a navel orange there never will be. This was the most beautiful orange. And then 2 giant grapefruits. Now, the navel orange is perfect. There is no more orange color, just like my yellow shirt. You like my Salvation Army Music Institute? I just absolutely love this shirt. Too bad it's not a 5X. Hey, I lost 40 pounds with my super juice diet. And that diet is drinking this stuff a little bit here and there to keep the hunger pains away while I do not eat. That's my diet. So I had made this recipe using a lemon and a lime, and I found it was good. It's a little bit of a thing. The lime, like this guy, is very green, and it has a very distinctive bitter flavor. It opposes the lemon, like they don't mix well. On the other hand, we have the lemon and the orange, where the orange is much less acidic, it's much sweeter, more earthy, it's got much more flavor, and it just pairs really well. So if you're making super juice, that's my tip for you today, is when you're out, pick up a couple of juice oranges. And what you do, you'll use a lemon and a juice orange. And you're supposed to weigh the peels, and whatever that number is the amount of grams of citric acid that you put in. And then on top of that, there's 8 grams of malic acid. Now, I found in my experience that that's way too much acid, that it would make me have heartburn. So my thing has come down to simplifying it. I use 2 pint glasses, and I'll fill 1 pint glass with cold water. As far as the acid goes, I tend to run about 15 grams of citric acid to the 8 gram of malic. And that is for 2 fruit. If I'm gonna do 1, I'm gonna drop it down to like 10 and 5. So quickly to go through the process, you peel the orange, peel the secondary fruit, put them together in a small bowl. You add 15 grams of citric acid, 8 grams of malic acid, shake it up so that the powdered acid covers the peels well. Let that cover it, let it sit for 2 hours, and then you take your glass of water, and I have a plastic tumbler glass, because see, I'm going to use an immersion blender. So I have this plastic tumbler, it's kind of tall, and it's big enough to put the immersion blender in. And I use that pint glass of water to clean out the vessel that stored the peels with the acid. We want to get all of that out of there and into the cup. And then I run my immersion blender, and then I run that liquid. And the first time you pour the liquid through this strainer, it's going to be full. You might not even be able to pour half of it before you have to stop. And when your strainer is full like that, I like to take a spoon and press down on the little bits of peel that the immersion blender has chopped up, and that will squeeze some oil and all that flavor out into the glass. So you don't want to just throw away your peel remnant. Press it out and then get rid of it. Once you've run that mixture of water through that strainer 3 times to fully remove any remnant. And I tried using finer sieves and really making a big deal out of straining it. And I found that there wasn't enough difference between just doing it 3 times through a screen strainer, which is a big difference in the amount of remnant that will be in the final product. But it didn't do a big difference for me drinking the stuff. So I make it a little easier on myself and don't consume so much time really going nuts about straining out the particulate. So, peel your lemons, peel your fruits, put the acid on it, let it sit for 2 hours. Use your pint glass of water, cold water, to clean out the vessel, get it all in one container, and blend that, or use your immersion blender. Then you strain it. And that's it. You need to take your fruit and juice it and strain it. Add that fruit juice to the mixture. And then you take a cup of water. I like to use hot water at this point. And I used 3 2/3 of a cup measurements of sugar and a wisp, and wisp that into the hot water in the pot. I'll usually turn the burner on to about 3 or maybe halfway, but only momentarily because heat is the enemy. So turn that burner off after you've dissolved all the sugar. Take a dozen ice cubes, half dozen ice cubes, and cool it off. Or you can make the best way to do it is make your sugar water, your simple syrup, first. That way it sits there for 2 hours and gets to room temperature, and you don't have to play around with the ice cubes. But the ultimate goal that you're going for is, I use a 64 ounce glass container. I use an Oberweis milk jug. That's 2 quarts. And you pour your sugar water, your simple syrup, and along with the juice and the Oleo citrate mix, pour that in. Top the rest off with water, and there you go. That lemonade will be so strong that the way that I prepare it, I pour like this much or less, and then fill up the rest with this, and it's really good. Now, the flavor profile of the lime going with the lemon might not go over as much if you're serving, like, let's say you're going to make this for a party and you got to please everyone. I would go with the orange. I really would. And even at that point, I would add 1 ounce per serving of Fago, just to color it and give it a little more rounded out flavor. Pop mixing, you can go with the Canada Dry Bold. Has a real lot of ginger, which really spiced it up, made it really good, really good. Might be more for adults, but and you got to watch how much of that you put in. But just drinking this straight, it's delicious. You don't need it put any pop in there. But it looks like this. It doesn't really have an appealing. I mean, it looks like lemonade, I guess you'd say. I bought Mr. and Mrs. T's strawberry daiquiri mix, and that comes in a big jug, like it's a big, like Jack Daniels, like fat neck, like so you pour that stuff out. I got a little squeeze bottle with it's got a lid. There's a lid that cups over it. When you pop that off, and then you pull the nipple up, and you squeeze through that nipple. So I go like bloop bloop bloop, like 3 little squirts of that stuff because it's powerful. And that mixed well with Oleo citrate lemon, Oleo citrate lemon lime. Doesn't mix with the lemon orange. So if you're going for a strawberry lemonade, that's gonna like knock people's socks off. So they're gonna ask you like, "What is this?" Like I've never tasted anything like this, and that's because you're extracting all those oils out of the peel that normally are just thrown away, and that stuff is good. It's awesome. So I found that the mixing the lemon, it's fine by itself. It's awesome. And then when I had purchased the fruits, I got one of everything. I had all this stuff. So eventually, first I tried the limes, and it's really good with the lime. It really is. Like, ultimately, I think what I would do is when I go out, I'm going to get, 2 lemons and 2 oranges. Or maybe even 1 and 1 if I'm going shopping enough. And I would make one day I would make, because it lasts me 2 days. The 2-quart lasts me 2 days. Make just a plain, then make the lime, and then make the lemon, and then come back to making the plain, and rotate it like that. So I really do, I like all of them. I would probably, as of now, I would say that the orange is my favorite. But come back and you might hear something different. The juice orange worked really well with it. When I did it, the peel looked like it browned. And those fruits sat for about a month. So, and the juice oranges, putting the juice orange up next to like a a navel. The navel orange is beautiful. There is no more orange color. It's perfectly round. It's got a thick skin, and it's beautifully the way that the surface is rippled, the texture of it. And then you have the juice oranges, and that looks like the produce guy Chingadas had a rough night with a guinguinco and got up, had his chingaraditas, and then got up on top of a pyramid of fruit and sprayed his diarrhea on the pyramid. Those oranges look like they're the prostitute of the orange. If you looked at the citrus fruit, they're all banged up and bruised and rolled hard, put away wet. Those juice oranges do not look good. But for this, that's what you want. The guingadas and the guinguino, that's the perfect spice. Don't wash your peel. So I had all that stuff, like I told you, when I went shopping. I bought lemons, limes, a couple of juice oranges. Are those Valencias? Let me know. 1 amazing, perfect navel orange, and then 2 giant grapefruit. And I'm lucky on the weekends my wife will, Donna Gafti, the mama, Keita's looking at me. She makes breakfast, bacon and egg, and I get my choice, scrambled or up. So when I was a kid, my mom would do this thing with the grapefruit. She cuts it in half and like double cuts around each membrane, goes around cutting it so you can just easily go in there and pry out the sections of the fruit. It's a real loving thing that someone does when they prepare a grapefruit like that. Sprinkle sugar on the top, put it cellophane, and then refrigerate it to get it ice cold. So I asked my wife, this is the stuff she hates. And typically there'll be some sort of a miscommunication. We'll call it that. And here's a tip for you. If you're out there and you're married or you care about someone and you're going to prepare them breakfast with a grapefruit, you bring the grapefruit in 10 to 5 minutes, depending on how quickly they devour their food. Like my wife, she inhales her food. If you share a TV tray with her, it's going rucka, rucka, rucka. It's shaking from her, just cutting into. She just goes at it. And I don't. Takes me a while to eat my food. So, a little tip, depending on how fast the person eats, if they're a slow eater, 10 minutes before you serve the bacon and eggs, you bring the grapefruit in. It's like you serve the beverage, you bring the knife and the fork and the napkin, you bring whatever condiments, whatever special stuff. If it's ribs or fried chicken, you bring a thing of lemon water and 4 extra paper towels that have been folded. You bring all that stuff so when the food comes, the person can eat the food while it's hot and doesn't have to say, I don't have any silverware, I don't have a napkin, I don't have a drink, I don't have any condiments. And then the person who's serving starts swearing and running around. So this particular day, I've got a grapefruit treat coming. It's been chilling in the fridge for 48 hours because she forgot to serve it. So in comes the bacon and eggs, and I go, honey, could I please have my grapefruit? And so here she brings it in. Here it is, the navel orange. Ba, 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 ba. Here's your orange. I mean, all the fruit was in the same bowl. It's like this perfect navel orange, this nice small, it's the size of a baseball. And then you have these giant yellow grapefruits, huge grapefruits, in the same bowl. And she dug the navel orange out. She thought it was a grapefruit and prepared it. So I had a sugared orange and cold breakfast, you know. So I never got to try my navel orange. I only got to try the juice oranges. So I don't know. I can't report on that. But I will tell you, if you're into Oleo citrate or super juicing, throwing a orange in with your lemon is really good. If you didn't catch that recipe and you want to try this, and again, you don't need the malic acid. The malic acid, you can order that online or you can get it from any brewing supplier. Should have it. But you can do this just with citric acid. So if you want to try this at home, 1 lemon, and if you're of a more adventurous palate, you could use a lime. If you're serving this to children or people who are picky about taste, get a lemon and a juice orange. So you peel both of the fruit and put them in a bowl. Put 15 grams of citric acid in it. Maybe 20 grams of acid if it's 2 fruits. Let that sit for 2 hours. Take a pint of water and use that water to clean the bowl and all the peels and get them into either a blender or a container that you can use your immersion blender in. So you want to blend that and then strain it through a screen strainer 3 times. And press out your peels. When you get the strainer full of peels, use a spoon, a large spoon, to press down, and more droplets of pure goodness are going to fall in. At that point, it's 2/3 of a cup measuring of sugar mixed in with a cup of water. and make your simple syrup. You should actually do that first. Heat and steel are your enemy, so you don't want to have the hot sugar water come in contact with your juice. It's got to be room temperature or cold. And then you just mix everything together. You juice the fruit, juice and strain the fruit. So you'll mix together the fruit juice, your oleo citrate, blended, strained mix, and your sugar water. You put that into a 2-quart container and then top the rest off with water. And then what you're going to have is strong. So you're going to have to cut that either with water or sparkling water, and it makes the best citrus cocktail you'll ever have in your life. Again, with the numbers, there's other videos out on the internet where they're more really precise about doing everything. I found that those videos, it was too much acid for my palate, that I did get a little heartburn, and that I could get away with doing this with a little bit less acid. So that's how I adjusted my recipe. And it's been working good for me. I've been really enjoying this. And I lost weight because I reduced my food intake. I just drink a little bit of this to keep the hunger pangs away. The flavor of this is good. It really is a good flavor, and that's that orange coming into the mix. So, try it. I hope you like it. And I will see you guys soon. I've got another video I'm going to make talking about some John Wayne movies. So I will see you guys later, and peace.